Get the thoughts of Sue and Stephen, shall we? They were made to work for it for a bit.
Yeah.
Sue, weren't they? Was it always a case of when, not if, City would get a goal and go on to win it?
I think so. Watching the game, you could see how Manchester United were setting up. They obviously got the brilliant goal through Marcus Rashford. But Manchester City was still playing really well. The way that they were moving the ball, the movement of the players. And you just thought, as soon as they get one back, they'll go on. They've got that quality because they were brilliant. So it did look like to me it was only a matter of time before they got the goal and before they went on to win. Just the quality that they've got. And I think each week we will praise a different player. They've got those match winners, haven't we? Whether it's Haaland, whether it's De Bruyne, or obviously yesterday it was Phil Foden. So they've got that. They've got the quality, the impact to come off the bench as well, which obviously they did with, when they've done that yesterday and previously. So yeah, I think it was only a matter of time, really.
Yeah, I wonder what that does to you, because to play in the Premier League, you've got to be technically very, very good, haven't you? Whoever you play for. But is it about the belief they have? They have absolute belief that they will go on and win in situations like that.
Yeah, I think it's not only that, it's the manager in the touchline. The game plan that he gives them, that he sets out, the ideas that every single player's got. They know it's a matter of time before a player switches off, before a player is forced into making an error through being fatigued or a lack of concentration. And sometimes it's just waiting for that opportunity. The game yesterday was all about patience for Manchester City and how patient could they be? How long would it take? I think the big thing is that they're quite happy to wait until the 80th minute, the 90th minute. If that's what it takes to score that vital goal, to change the game, to open it up, they'll wait and they won't get impatient. They won't change the style. And that's credit to the players and the manager.
Yeah. The problem with City is OK, you go out with a game plan. All the talk beforehand was this almost telepathic relationship between De Bruyne and Haaland and how they were going to take United apart. And they kind of did a good job on those two.
Yeah.
But the problem is then you've got a player like Phil Foden who'll just pop up and do what's necessary, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's obviously the strength that Manchester City have got. You watched Haaland and De Bruyne link up in the FA Cup, and we watched Manchester United last week and we said, if they play that way that they did against Fulham, De Bruyne will get into those spaces that Manchester United are leaving. He'll find Haaland and Haaland will score. So they obviously changed the way that they set up to stop that from happening. But then you've got a player like Phil Foden who's just outstanding wherever he plays, whether he plays on the left, he plays on the right, he can play in a false nine, he can play in a number 10 role. He's got a bit of everything to his game, hasn't he? His touch is brilliant, his movement's brilliant, obviously his finishing, his composure, because I think that was something that Pep Guardiola said in the first half. The only thing that he was sort of saying to his players, a little bit more composure in that final third. Yeah. Well, he certainly showed that composure, didn't he? He's just an absolute top quality player.
Yeah, Gareth Southgate was watching on. Steve Holland was sat next to him. They very rarely go out on a double date, do they, those two? They're either at one match or another, but they were both there watching this one. This debate, Phil Foden has said he wants to play as the 10, but Gareth Southgate then says, well, I see where Pep Guardiola plays him, and he's a very good manager, says Gareth Southgate. So were they making up their mind of where is his best position, or where can they play him? Because they want to play Bellingham maybe in the 10 as well. So for me, it's all very puzzling, so I'm going to hand that over to you. Sort that out.
Well, one of the problems that you've got at the moment is you've got Saka in great form, so you don't want to take away from him. Who's the better player out of Saka and Foden? I think that'll be a good argument. I'd say it would be Phil Foden, personally, if it was a choice between the two. But I see him playing on that left-hand side because I don't see anyone at the moment in the England setup saying that left-hand side's mine. Jack Grealish has had his problems with injury. Anthony Gordon hasn't been called up, but has been a good performer this season and is an outstanding candidate to play on that left-hand side. Who else plays there? Who's that position? Marcus Rashford has played there in the past, but we know he hasn't been in great form. Never let England down, but if you're going off form currently, apart from the goal yesterday, you'd say he's not been great. So I'd say the left-hand position is where you play Phil Foden. And that is where you're playing, because like you say, Rob, you've got Bellingham playing in that 10 role behind Harry Kane?
See, I think it depends, doesn't it, what system he decides to go with, because I would love to see Phil Foden in the middle. I would love to see him and Bellingham, and you just think, could you play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 with Rice as the holder, and then you've got either Bellingham and Foden either side, or could you have one of them in a 10, one of them in an 8, and they could just interchange. You've got Rice now as that protector. If you've got John Stones playing centre-half, could he then come into midfield like he's done for Manchester City? Because I just think, yes, he can play anywhere, can't he? But I just think centrally he's so effective. And I agree with you. I think that left-hand side, that's the position that isn't really nailed on. I think Saka is nailed on for me on the right. I think you've got Harry Kane. You've got Foden, Bellingham and Rice who are nailed on, and then I think it's that left-hand side is up for grabs. I think there's a few, isn't there? That's just me wanting Foden to play centrally.
But this is the issue with Phil Foden, is he's that good in every position that he plays, is that you want to fit him in, and he's almost now becoming a player, well, we don't have a quality player in that position, so that's where we'll put Phil, because we know he's good enough to play any position.
There was a moment in that game where Phil Foden was back tackling in the left-back position.
Yeah, brilliant.
Gareth Southgate would have noted that, because the sort of feeling was coming out of the England camp, and it was never overtly stated, but actually Foden, he needed more going that way, and perhaps that's why Foden wasn't selected as regularly or in those positions that he wanted to be. Is that another dimension to his game that he's added now?
Yeah, 100%. However, what I would say is he doesn't play for Manchester City if he doesn't do that. So with Gareth saying that, I'm thinking, you're not watching him for Manchester City enough then, because you don't play for Pep Guardiola unless you track back. If you're not tracking back, God, you can see Guardiola on the sideline going absolutely ballistic, because he knows how hard his teams have to work. So I wouldn't say it's something that's suddenly just come into his game. I think he's always done it. I think he understands his responsibility and does that extremely well. So, yeah, I'm not so sure it's like a major thing that suddenly clicked into gear with him or clicked in his brain that he has to do more of. But no, he's an incredible talent, isn't he? I mean, I was at the game yesterday, and just every time he gets on the ball, you're thinking, and I know you're saying put him in midfield, but I'm thinking as a fullback, I don't want him anywhere near me. I'm happy with him in midfield. He's got further to come to get to goal or to get closer to goal. I'd rather him be away from it, because if he gets you in 1v1, he's quick as well.
Yeah, he is.
He's so quick in his brain, in his touches, in the way he plays. Nightmare to play against.
Yeah, I think with the defensive side, maybe it's just like understanding the role a little bit more, understanding like positionally where to be, because I think you could never fault his work rate or his effort. He was always wanting to press, he was always wanting to get back to help out, but maybe just understanding like the positioning a little bit more. Maybe that's something that's just developed as he's got a little bit older and more experienced.
Now, there was a wonderful stat from Kelly at half-time when we're talking about Erling Haaland and that miss, that actually the XG was higher than if he'd had a penalty at that moment when he put it over the bar, which was a scintillating stat. We love a stat on a Monday, don't they?
We do.
You can see it as many times as you want. You still think it's going to go in the back of the net, don't you?
You do, because of who it is, because it's Haaland, and you obviously expect him to score most of the chances.
Oh, this time it'll go in.
This time it will, yeah. But I think, again, this shows his character, doesn't he? We said it after the Chelsea game, and we said, like, he looked so disappointed. He obviously pushed the camera away, and he sets his standards so high, what we saw last season, that we do expect so much from him, and players do miss opportunities and miss chances, but the fact that he then got that opportunity late on in the game, and it was a lovely composed finish. So it's about learning from those. He's still relatively young, isn't he? He's still sort of learning his trade as well. And you made a really good point a couple of weeks ago about Salah and how he deals with missing chances. He just sort of laughs it off, doesn't he? And he goes, it's okay, another one will come and I'll put it away. And he's probably learning those things. Okay, that one's gone. Yes, it's a bad miss, but another one comes his way and he slots it home nice.
Yeah, he's not bad, is he? That was the 12th time Manchester City fell behind in a Premier League game this season. Only in 2019-20 have they done so more under Pep Guardiola. Why are we seeing this?
What, that they fall behind?
Yeah.
I think they're just a little bit more vulnerable in defence. I think that system of John Stones stepping into midfield does make them that little bit more vulnerable in the way that they defend. Lapse of concentration for the goal yesterday. I mean, let's be honest, if you give that chance to Marcus Rashford again and say to him, hit that ball for 100 goes, he probably scores 2 or 3. I mean, it's a wonder strike, so you can't really legislate for that. I thought City defended extremely well yesterday. I really do. I thought they were exceptional in the way that they closed Manchester United down and nullified them. That's a wonder strike. There's not many things you can do about that. But there has been other games where opposition have gone at Manchester City, and I think that's the difference is, do you want to play Manchester City and go and park the bus and walk away getting beat 2 or 3-0? Or do you want to have a go at them and walk away and go, at least we had a go? We were going to get beat anyway, or we were going to go toe-to-toe as much as we can, and the chances are you're going to get beat because of the quality that they are. But that leaves City a little bit open if you're going to have a go at them because of that overloading of midfield.
It's Liverpool and Arsenal up next. Get through those two. Is the title theirs? Slip up? And is it advantage to the others?
They're obviously key games, aren't they? And you obviously look at the Liverpool-Manchester City game. That's huge. And you look at how Stephen's getting nervous already.
No, I'm not. Do you know what I'm just laughing at? It's like, if they get through that, it's done, isn't it? No, it's just dead simple.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
If only.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, Rob. Just Liverpool
I
and
just
Arsenal.
asked the question. I didn't say that's what I meant. Really?
But I think you look at that game and you look at Liverpool's form at home. They are so strong. The Anfield factor is a massive factor, isn't it, when Manchester City go there? But yeah, it's a tough one to call, isn't it? Obviously, Liverpool's injuries, will those players start coming back? I think that is certainly the key game.
Let's put it this way. This time next week when you're sat there, Stephen, will Liverpool's lead at the top be 1 point, 4 points, or will they be in second spot?
Great question. No idea. I think it depends on Liverpool's 11.
Yeah.
So for talking sake, if they go with, we know Alisson's out, so it'll be Kelleher, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, and then you've got Conor Bradley at right back. Then if you go Endo, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Salah's fit, Salah, Nunez, and Diaz, that's a strong 11 at home. If a couple of players are missing from that, and they do then have to dip into the youngsters, then it's a big ask because of the quality you're going up against of Manchester City. If Liverpool field that team, I think they walk out with a minimum of a draw.